Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue. Buffalo Bills, New Kensington. Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold. Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights. Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights. Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Borough in Arnold. 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville. Tower Auto in Blawnox. And Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.
It's great to have you with us. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching us on a Monday night, streaming around the world, by the way. Of course, in India, they don't know what we're saying. Bangladesh, they have no clue. But here in the good old USA, Mike, people love us.
And they love us in Australia and New Zealand because they can understand us.
Anyway, folks, we're at the All-Star break. Glad you could join us tonight. If you're watching on a Thursday night, the All-Star game will be history. In fact, the second part of the season will pick up in earnest, and the Major League Baseball campaign will continue with the Pirates right now 1 game behind, but 19 games above 500. And if you check the standings, we have 30 Major League Baseball franchises, and only 2 of them have winning percentages of 600 or better. One of them, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the other, of course, will be the team in front of them, the St. Louis Cardinals. And you got to like the fact that we've got some representation in the big All-Star game itself.
5 players, first time since 1972, I believe, that has been the case. So they have a lot of things going for them in the fact that, okay, this is the first time since fill in the blank that this has happened, or first time since fill in the blank since that has happened. So those are all good things. Hopefully they'll be able to keep it going, but being 13th in the league in runs scored isn't going to get it done.
Yeah. Now, manager Collins of the New York Mets let it be known that he was unhappy with the Pittsburgh fans that entire 3-game set, that every time David Wright's name was even mentioned over the PA system or he came to bat, he was booed loudly, vociferously, if I can add. And he said,
as John Phillips said on The Fan, lustfully. Which is completely not the correct uses of the English language.
I'd like to hear what our people have to say about
Well,
that.
and another thing that Collins mentioned about that is that it affected him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, why would you want to let the world know that the booing bothered the guy?
That's the last thing in the world.
Exactly. So guess what? Good job, Pittsburgh fans, no matter what certain columnists might have said that told you shouldn't do that. I think that was a good job.
So anyway, folks, again, welcome here to the program. Lots to talk about here tonight. And anyway, let's take a look at rules and regulations for our sports trivia program here tonight, Sportsline Trivia. You're a winner every other week, and that's the max. You can win a Grand Salami Prize or the Mystery Profile, but once a month. You can try the Mystery Profile once a month. Reason for that. Multiple choice time limit is 15 seconds, the Grand Salami at 20, and the Mystery Profile. We try to go quickly, clue by clue. And if you're a first-time caller, you'll get an extra prize. And if you've not called this show in a year, you are considered a first-time caller. Now, my website, which is doubledribblebob.com, has the answers to the questions that we ask here in the program. Also, my radio show, which is heard Saturday mornings on WAVL, also has a trivia question, which I give the answer at the end. And then what I do is I work that particular question into, most of the times, a salami question. So if you listen to the radio show, at least get the answer, make a note of it, and the next time we come up with a salami and you call and say, hey, that's what you'd like to try, then you got a good shot at winning $100 plus the salami. So that's what's at stake. Now, in the meantime, it's 5 minutes into the program. Let's take our first commercial break. Mike and I will entertain callers. I don't know how we're going to entertain them, but we'll try it.
We will be as entertaining as we could possibly be.
When we return, stay with us. Since 1914, people in the local area have relied on the Resevich family in deepest time of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley. Its reputation and unquestionable service speaks for itself. Now the proud tradition of service continues with a fourth generation. The Resevich family serves the AK Valley from two locations, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road, Lower Burrell.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Felderelli Square. Tower Auto Sales has been in the business at the same location for 40 years. Imagine that. Allow Tower Auto to help you in the selection of your next pre-owned vehicle. That's the way to go. Tower Auto Sales. Just buy it. Give Mike Fanto a call at 412-828-6202. Let me make one quick note. And we'll get back here in just quick moment here. We're going to go to the audience here tonight. Paul's going to get us started. Paul won the Grand Salami 2 weeks ago, so he's eligible for tonight.
He's back at it.
And he's got that salami. And
how big was this thing?
3 pounds.
3 pounds.
3.21.
3.2.
What? It's like pie. That was the 3.14, 1.5.
1.4.
Anyway, Paul, welcome here to the show, and I hope you enjoy all the prizes, which was the salami
Yes.
and $100 worth of gift certificates.
Yes.
You remember what they were? Well, I know we got to get the pizza thing straightened out.
Right. The 50s restaurant in Norrborough, I forget.
Krause's Restaurant,
Yeah, hot dog guys.
the Hot Dog Guys,
Restaurant in Oakmont,
that's Carnivores,
Carnivores.
great restaurant too.
and the
Either
garage
Golden
in
Dawn or, no?
the auto service in New Ken.
Oh, yes, Community
Yeah, community.
Auto Service, and that certificate will get you probably 95% of an oil change.
Yeah.
Right.
And which isn't bad. And I'll tell you what, you get to know Mike
Oh yeah.
for your auto repair. I got to tell you something. I and my wife both rely on this guy, and he's an honest, honest individual. So anyway, let's get on with your appointed conversation here tonight.
So with the All-Star game coming up tomorrow, I was going to give my personal favorite baseball All-Star team. First base, I would have Pete Rose.
That's
Let
good.
me make a
We're
note.
going to write these down.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Okay, second base would be Mickey Morandini because if I needed 3 outs right away, he can do it.
All by himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shortstop, Ozzie Smith.
Okay.
Third base, Mike Schmidt.
You're leaning heavily American League ball. National League, I mean.
Okay, then behind the plate, my favorite player of all time, Johnny Bench.
Okay.
Your favorite?
By the way, did you know he was part Indian?
No.
Yes, he's, it may only be an eighth, but born in Oklahoma and
Yeah.
everything else. And he, no big deal was ever made of it, but he was part Indian.
I did not know that.
And the only reason I bring it up is there's so many, they're keeping track of, to some degree, and I don't know where this post is, but it has to do with anybody with Indian blood
Right.
that played baseball, and Johnny Bench is among them. So let me put him down here,
about
Johnny
that?
Bench. Who's the first baseman again?
That was Pete Rose.
Okay, Pete, obviously. Okay.
He's not banned from your list?
No.
Okay, just
And
checking.
in the outfield, you'll love this. Omar Marino,
Center field.
yes. And then I don't know where you would put these next to at Big McBride.
Jeez.
Really?
Yes,
He had a great afro.
yeah. And I haven't heard of this next one for a long time, but he played in the World Series. Willie Mays Aikens.
Willie Mays Aikens. He played a lot of first base.
Right. Remember he batted and he had his heel was up or something?
Yeah, he played.
Was he in the outfield or first base?
He played first base for Kansas City, but I think he played some outfield too.
Right.
And I think he had a home run his first World Series at bat.
No,
He played in the '80 World Series for Kansas City against the Phillies.
Yeah.
And this is your all-time All-Star team?
I mean, it's not the
Oh,
best.
your personal favorite.
Right.
Oh, these guys are guys that you.
Just because they're one of his favorites.
Yeah.
Now who are the pitchers?
Okay, then the DH, I like his batting style is, remember Lee May? Always
Oh,
had
yeah.
that bat swinging.
Lee May was a big dude, man. Lee May was on played for Cincinnati in the
And
late
Baltimore.
60s, early 70s, and then was in the big trade to Houston that brought Joe Morgan to Cincinnati.
Right.
And then eventually went on to Baltimore, and he was the DH the year the Pirates played the Orioles in '79 in the World Series, but they didn't use the DH in the World Series then, so he was just a pinch hitter.
Right.
Okay, pitchers. Let's go.
My pitcher, I just have the two. The starting pitcher would be Mark Fidrich.
The Bird.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
started the '76 All-Star game, I think.
Right. And the relief pitcher, I always like Dan Quisenberry.
Yeah, the quiz, he was a good
He's
one.
gone too.
Yeah.
Taken way too early. Another
And,
cancer victim.
And then my manager, I always like Don Zimmerman. Or,
Don. Remember that day he was attacked?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So-
That was.
Don Zimmer, we have 1 degree of separation. I got an autographed program from a dog track. One of our callers, Lou from Verona. If you're out there, Lou, how you doing, bud? It's been a while. Left it at our old location, and left it there, and got it personalized and signed for me by Don Zimmer. It was very
How
nice.
about
It
that?
was very nice of Lou to do that, and I still have that. That's very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Don's still among the living.
Yeah, he still lives. He lives in Tampa, and he does some work for the Rays. There's some scouting, and maybe he shows up in spring training or something like
Right.
that. But he's still with us and going strong. Yeah, but not just past that point where he can do the everyday grind that it takes to be with the team and traveling. And he had
Right.
retired from the Yankees too. So
And
Joe
if I had to pick my team announcer, probably Skip Carey.
Skip Carey,
And Ken Harrelson. I'm just
Hawk Harrelson, that'd be my favorite.
anyone but Joe Buck.
Yeah, anyone with Joe Buck, I would agree with you
Right.
100%, Paul.
So-
I can't do it. I'm already looking forward to tomorrow so I can mute it.
Right.
Like I can hear Tim McCarver's last All-Star game. Oh boy, this is going to be something. Oh, it's going to be great. I can't wait to hear that they're going to be
Right.
making it all about Tim. So.
Yeah, I thought about this team in the last couple of days, so I thought I'd share it.
Well,
and-
it's as good as any, and everybody has their favorite players, and I like the way you did that. Not necessarily the best guy, but your favorite player.
Yeah, my favorite.
Like I would have Carl Yastrzemski on this team. Because Carl
Oh,
Yastrzemski,
yeah.
Rusty Staub would be in the outfield. Guys like that. The guys that were my favorite. Some just because they were my favorites. But
And your favorites go back primarily to the
the
80s.
70s and the 80s, yeah.
And mine would go back to the
Yeah.
I might
late
have George
40s
Brett at
and
third base,
50s.
but it may be Schmidt.
Yeah.
You'd have Herb score.
I would have Herb score pitching, the late Herb.
Right.
Bob Feller. I mean,
Feller, good Indians.
in those days, relief pitchers were not, in my day, of watching and following baseball. At that
Right.
time, relief pitchers were not a big item.
No,
They weren't.
They were just the guys that weren't good enough to
They
start.
would just happen to be out in the bullpen and saying, "Am I ever going to get in?" Now, you have
Now everybody has a role. Everybody,
and the
okay,
pitch counts.
I'm the 7th inning guy, or I'm the 8th inning guy, and our 8th inning guy made the All-Star game. And so when do you see that happen? So
You can go down to his list, Pete Rose, and again, the little things about each one of these. Pete Rose, should he be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Mickey Morandini, local favorite,
Right.
unassisted triple play.
Yeah.
Ozzie Smith, I think he's the only, the leading shortstop for the most games ever played, most assists,
Yes.
and there was a third item in there as well.
Right.
Mike Schmidt, who can forget the bombs that he had? In fact,
Right.
at the one field.
I saw that
they had
500th homer.
Don Robinson gave it up.
Donnie Robinson
Yeah.
served that up
Game
on
in
a
the
platter.
week.
in Johnny Bench, and I hate to even think about this, but the time that he thought he was getting an intentional walk, and the catcher snuck back into the catcher zone, and then he threw a strike 3 call, and he was embarrassed. I mean,
Right.
that was a tough thing to live down.
Oh, I remember that too. That was a nice sneaky job by the A's there in the World
Yeah,
Series.
what year was that?
It was 1972. That was when the A's played the Reds in the World Series, and they, like Bob said, with a 3-2 count, and they decided they were going to walk him. And they put the hand out, they threw the ball right down the middle, and he wasn't waiting for it. The catcher just ducked back down in there. It was called strike
And
3.
what did Kirk Gowdy say when that
I'm
happened?
sure it was. Whatever it
You're
was.
showing
lar-
us up
It
or
was
whatever.
largely forgettable if Kurt said it. Trust
Yeah,
me. Yeah.
right,
That was another one I don't get. I put Kurt Gowdy and Joe Buck in the same category.
right.
I don't get it.
So-
Yeah. Hey, good shot. Thanks,
Okay,
Paul.
okay.
Thanks,
Great.
Paul.
Now, you're eligible, so what do you want to do?
Eligible for just the multiple choice, I think, right?
If you
Because you
want-
can only win,
You can only try the profile once a month,
okay.
and you can only win one of the two. So you're right.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Mike, you want to start?
Okay,
out
I'll
with
do the
number
multiple
9?
choice.
You got that's the only option you got.
Very good.
Multiple it is. And I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to predict that Paul gets this right.
Okay.
Here we go. What shortstop holds the record for most games played, assists, and double plays?
Oh my God.
Was that? Let me please stand down. Cal Ripken, Ozzie Smith, Luke Appling, old aches and pains, or Hannes Wagner. Which of those four would be? Now take your time. I don't want you to rush this.
I'd like to buy a vowel, please.
Sure, you can phone a friend. What would you like to buy?
Can I phone my friend to tell him I'm going to win because it's Ozzie
That is
Smith?
correct.
Yeah, you got it. Hey, Paul, congrats.
Nice job, Bob.
So, and I had no clue because I didn't realize that you were only eligible
Can
for.
I quote Joe?
that.
I love quoting Joe. Button your shirt tighter, your heart's gonna fall out.
Hey, thanks a lot.
All right, have a good
Paul,
day.
appreciate
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Paul. I
Now,
appreciate it.
Chris is standing by on the phone. Chris, we're going to get to you. However, we have to take a commercial break. And folks, if you're out there, I know you are,
724
236.
0430.
All right, back in a moment. And we want to say hello again to a new gal that we've got helping to direct tonight,
Tracy?
Tracy. Tracy, welcome. Let's take a break. We're coming back.
Husqvarna, taming the wild.
Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My first book on sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripplebob.com where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough.
You know, every time I'm up in the Brackenridge area where Mattio's Pizza sits on that Broadview Boulevard area, I am so tempted to go in and grab a nice hoagie or that big Ironman hoagie that they have as their signature sandwich. But I just love the folks out there because they know how to put it all together. Hand-tossed pizzas, gyro sandwiches, subs and hoagies, calzones, strombolis, and they do the wingdings just right and lots more. Get to know those folks. Mattio's Pizza and Subs. They're located right next to the district magistrate's office at the traffic light at Brackenridge Heights. So that's where we are. It's 20 minutes into the program. We're going to grab Chris on the phone. Thank you for calling in tonight, Chris. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Mike. How you guys doing?
Hi, Chris.
Okay,
I want to say hello to Paul out there in the audience.
Paul in the audience. Chris is hello.
Hello, how are you?
All right. My prediction for the All-Star game is I think the American League might pick up the pace a little bit. It'll probably be somewhere, they're not going to score really until about the fifth inning. That's how tight it's going to be. That's one of my predictions on that, at least by the fifth
I don't
inning.
even know how to go about predicting the outcome
The
of
National
an
League's
All-Star
been
game.
winning lately,
Right.
so I don't know.
They've turned things around.
They have turned things around somewhat. I don't know who the favorite would be. I could look that up, but maybe we can take
Yeah,
a look
you
and
mean
see.
the odds?
Yeah, to see
Yeah, I'd like to see just for the fun of it what the odds are.
I will. I'll dig that up. But the starting pitchers are going to be Matt Harvey from the Mets. But I think everybody knew that was going to happen when they scratched him from his start against the Pirates on Saturday, which we thanked him for very much, by the way. Because if the way they're hitting, if he would have pitched, they couldn't hit the Carlos Torres guy they threw at them anyway, and the awful Dylan G on Sunday, who is just a terrible pitcher, and they couldn't do anything with him either. So Matt Harvey's going to pitch and becomes the third. Now, do you know this? The third Mets pitcher to start an All-Star game.
Since Dwight Gooden.
Dwight Gooden and Tom Seaver are the other two.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good company. And Max Scherzer's going to start for the American League from the Tigers, who lost his first game over the weekend. He went 13-0 and lost one. So.
And as far as the Pirates go, I think what's going to happen. I think I'm not really looking forward to this series because it's probably going to be a tough series because they got the Nationals, they got Cincinnati, and they got St. Louis. I mean, it's just going to be a rough thing. I wonder what your take on that is.
There's a lot of tough games coming up. They start off at Cincinnati over the weekend.
Yeah.
They have 3 there, 4 at Washington, and those are your 2 closest pursuers right now.
Okay.
They have a 4-game lead over the Reds for the first slot in the wild card. They have a 9-game lead over Washington for the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
And those are ones now that you start to look at this point in the season when they get back to playing that. As long as you're ahead, it's the other team that needs to win that series, and you're basically trying not to be swept. You go to Washington, if you split, you've done a great job.
And Mike, isn't it so at this particular time, and I'm not quoting anybody, but my own observation, this is when your manager keeps you together because it's pressure time. St. Louis, big series, the team you're virtually locked with, 5 games, and as you mentioned, the other 2 that are in hot pursuit. Keeping us
Right.
Okay, let me ask you this: do you think if they do not go in there and they lose this year, do you think Hurdle's going to be done for sure?
No.
I hadn't thought of that. I was watching something on ESPN today, and they had brought up the fact that he's gotten them to this point 2 years in a row, and then they've completely fallen apart in the second half. I will say this, that if they choke away a 9-game lead, and not only don't make the playoffs, I think questions have to be asked. They just have to be. Somebody's going to lose their job. If they don't make the playoffs now, somebody has to go.
Well, the water boy.
That's what was said today. Somebody in the post office mentioned that to me today. That somebody has to go, but it ain't going to be the owner that's going to go, and you know that, and I know it's got to be Hurdle.
Yeah, the owners don't get fired. The general manager could, but I don't necessarily, it's going to be really interesting to see, Chris, what happens here over the next couple of weeks with the trading deadline coming up. You've made your point on it. I've just kind of sat back and wanted to watch and see what's been going on. But I think we're going to see now, with that offense being so bad, and no team has ever made the playoffs with an offense as bad as theirs is right now. So
yeah, I made my point before, but I mean, let's say, for instance, the trade is needed. Who do you think it would take?
Yeah, we're just going to have to see. I'm not. They could say they don't want to mess with the chemistry. But I also think as a general manager, you say, okay, I'm going to look and see where my team needs improved. I'm going to make the moves to improve that team. I'm going to go into the clubhouse and say, look, my job is to give you guys the best chance to win. I've done that. If you don't like it, too bad. And then I walk out. And then really, that's what Neil Huntington needs to do right now. He can't be too worried about what the players think because they're not running the team.
Who are some of the choices that they have a chance to pick up on?
Well, you've seen some names. There, Rios from the White Sox. Alex Rios is a right-handed batter, big, strong right-handed batter. I've seen, the guy I like is Norichika Aoki from the Brewers, who's a left-handed hitting outfielder that's a top-of-the-order guy, a get-on-base guy. I think he'd be the absolute perfect fit for them. You wouldn't have to kill your minor league system to do it. You wouldn't have to trade any of your top prospects to do it. He only makes a little over $1 million. I think he'd be perfect. We saw Marlon Byrd come in here over the weekend with the Mets. Another possibility. That would be a rental. But there are going to be guys available. Guys,
If we go for a rental, I think we're better off, I think.
What's that, Chris?
If we go for the rental like you call them, I think we'd be better off.
Oh, yeah, because then you don't have to give up so much. Not
That's
only
right.
You only have to pay the guy for the rest of this year, and you don't have to go deep into your prospect basket when you really don't want to do that. When you're finally building a minor league system, which they are, you really don't want to start digging into that and trading too many of these guys away. They've talked about it, and Huntington said it yesterday. This isn't we don't want this to be a one-year thing. They want this to be sustainable year after year after year. But, sometimes you just have to go for it.
Well, I think you're better off in our situation. You just go by. Let's work on this year, then we'll play around with the cards later.
Okay.
All right.
Chris, let's try to win you a prize.
All right, I'll try. I haven't won
Is
for
it
a
my
while.
turn then, right?
It is. By the way, the
Okay.
National League is favored. National League's
And
in
how
at a minus 120, and the over/under is 8, which I might go under because these games aren't very high scoring anymore because everybody only pitches
pitching,
one
yeah.
inning, and they bring relievers in starting in like the 5th inning, and it's really hard to score. So
That's where I think we're going to first start scoring. I think it's going to be scoreless until about the 5th.
It can't
All
be.
right. Chris, we'll see what kind of an expert you are with that crystal ball of yours. Here is your question. It's question number 1.
Okay, I'll take
So,
both, please.
pay attention. Here we go. What major leaguer played the most games in a career without ever playing in a World Series? And here are the options you have. Carlton Fisk, Ernie Banks, Ivan Rodriguez, and Rafael Palmeiro.
Palmeiro sounds like the guy that wouldn't be in the World Series.
Say that again?
Palmeiro, he's not one of the guys that was in the
Okay,
World Series.
you're
I'm going to
correct,
have to say Palmeiro.
Chris.
Chris,
Chris, we got a two-game.
We're knocking them dead tonight.
We have a 2-game winning streak.
How about them
You
apples?
and Paul back-to-back, so let me start that up, and we'll get something in the mail to you in the next 6 months.
Way to go,
I'm
Chris.
sorry, 6 days. All right.
6 months.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, so I won tonight then. Thank you very much.
All right,
yes.
appreciate it. Now, who's on the line?
Lemo man.
Hello?
Limo,
Yes, sir.
how are you?
Doing okay in the heat.
It is kind of warm, isn't it? Hey, thanks for the shout out last night. I heard that.
Yeah, how about that?
Bob appreciates it.
Jeff Rancourt signed with the Giants.
There's another name. Chris and I were just talking about that. Yeah, that's another guy. Jeff Rancourt was with Kansas City.
Yeah.
Right-handed hitter, has a great arm, good defensive player, but doesn't get on base a ton. But he ended up being released, and he was picked up. So,
Minor league contract.
And by the way, you two guys, it's been 40 years for the DH.
that long, huh?
40 years.
1973.
Do we get rid of it, or do we spread it to the National League and even things up?
I think
Get rid of it.
I'm with you. I would rather get rid of it, but I think it's going to stay exactly like it is. I think that they have watered down the leagues to the point where everything's the same. The umpires are now the same. Everything is the same. The only thing that's different,
Strike zone.
well, the strike zone's the same because there's no American League and National League umpires anymore. So the same umpires do every game. Now, the only thing that's different is the DH in one league and not in the other league. I think they're going to stay with it. I think it works. I don't think you're ever going to get rid of it altogether. The only league in professional baseball that doesn't have a DH is the National League. Every other league, minor leagues all the way up Japan, everybody has it. So if anything happens to make it uniform, I think it comes into the National League, which, I'm okay with that now. There was a time when I would have been kicking and screaming, but it takes me a while to change. So
You hear about George H.W. Bush?
he got honored today, didn't he?
He also got honored by a nice Jewish guy that I met, Arthur Shore. He owns Topps baseball card.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, and George H.W. Bush, they presented him with a card when he played baseball at Yale.
He was a first baseman. He was a
Yeah.
good field no-hit for, well, it's getting less and less with the athletic prowess of our presidents. Have you noticed that? We're really having to reach lately.
Yeah.
We're really having to reach lately. Obama could play a mean game of basketball from what I understand, but I guarantee you I could beat him on the golf course.
Harry Callis loved him.
What's that?
Harry Callis, when I took him to have lunch with H.W. and the younger Bush, he really liked him.
Yeah, everybody's, they seem to be personable. But athletic prowess of presidents. Gerald Ford might have been the top of your list as a great football player.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He was a Masonic brother of mine.
Gerald Ford was?
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that?
Congratulations.
And Jake LaMotta is 92 years old. He's getting up there with Bob Tatters.
Isn't that amazing that he's still living?
Yeah. And O.J. Simpson is 66, and the singer that Bob Tatter's wife likes, Ed Ames, is 88 years old.
Think of Ed Ames. I
think all the other Ames brothers are gone, right?
No, they're still around.
Willie Ames.
Their real name was the Four Yorick brothers. Nice Jewish guys from Waltham, Massachusetts.
Missed it.
How about that?
I'm ready to multiple choice, Bob.
Okay, I got to warn you, we've got a 2-game winning streak. So.
Yeah, Bruce, the pressure's on here because Paul and Chris have both won tonight. So this is you. Here we go.
Okay.
What major leaguer played in exactly 1,000 games for the New York Yankees and posted exactly 1,000 hits?
Very odd.
Very odd indeed. 1,000 games played, 1,000 hits on the nose exactly. Here are your 4 choices: Bill Dickey, Joe Gordon, Tony Lazzeri, old push 'em up, or Dave Winfield. Those are your 4 choices.
Repeat the 4 choices.
Sure. 1,000 hits, 1,000 games. Bill Dickey, Joe Gordon, Tony Lazzeri, Dave Winfield.
I'll say Bill Dickey.
That is not it. It is Joe Gordon. And I'll tell you what, those are all 4 guys who are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Dickey, Gordon, Lazzeri, and Winfield all in the Hall of Fame. Gordon, the answer. Lazzeri, both second baseman. Winfield, of course, an outfielder. And Bill Dickey was a great catcher.
All right.
Bruce.
You have a nice evening, guys.
All right.
Thanks, you too,
Thanks
Bruce.
for the call.
All right.
All right, let's.
Okay.
Do we owe for? You know what? Why don't we get Mark on now? Can we do that? Okay, but do we have another caller after Mark, or we? Okay, let's squeeze in Mark right now. Okay, Mark, welcome. Are you at work?
Yes. Good evening, fellas.
Good evening, Mark.
I had just 2 quick questions.
Sure.
Do the Pirates actually, or anybody, own interest in that MLB network?
It's owned by the league, operated by the league.
The league owns it, okay.
I'm going to guess that since the league operates it and owns it,
Everybody's
the
got an
profits are
equal-
going to split equally.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that for a fact. That's a great question, but I'm going to guess that that's how that works.
You know,
So in
because
other words, it's like a supporting role that each team has shares equivalent to whatever, and it's all the same.
And there's
like the NFL network.
Right, they're the same
Oh,
deal.
okay.
All 4 sports have one. I don't watch the NBA channel often at all, but the other 2, the MLB and the NFL network, are great. I mean, they're very well run. Their programming is terrific. The NHL's got a lot of room on theirs to move up. They're not very good at all.
Okay, and since I'm calling kind of late, did anybody talk about Leechburg staying in the WPIAL?
No, we were discussing that
On the way up.
off air tonight, and I'm not surprised, Mark. For those of you who might have been following this, and the Valley News Dispatch has done a really good job of covering this, and that the Leechburg School District was toying with the idea of leaving the WPIAL and moving to, I believe it's the Heritage Conference.
North.
Right, north, with places, I believe, like Salzburg and you know, places that were going to take the kids far away and get them back home maybe on school nights after 11 o'clock. It seemed to me that they tried to slide this through without anybody knowing about it. And then when a lot of parents got wind of it, that it hit the fan, so to speak. And then eventually, the school board decided to stay right where they were in the WPIAL. And they owe a great debt of gratitude to Jack Fullen, who is a higher up in the WPIAL. He's been the athletic
Advisor,
director,
kinda,
and been the athletic director at Blackhawk since the 70s for going on 40 years. And you talk about stability. He and Joe Hamilton, who the football coach is, have both been there for about the same amount of time, and there's some stability. And Jack's a great guy. And he put the vote off, basically saying, you guys can still leave if you want to, and we have no hard feelings. But if you want to take a little bit more time to think about it, and I think he was getting some rumbling, and I got to figure that some parents had called the WPIL and said, what's going on here? And eventually the vote flipped the other way, and they decided to stay in the WPIAL. And the thing that kills me is that for competitive balance reasons isn't exactly a reason you make this move. Now, I know Leechburg's very small, and as a...
Nobody wants them as a jointer because of their tax problems.
And they don't want to go to anyone either. And I give them full credit for just wanting to stay their own entity. Yeah. And that, to me, in this day and age, when they resisted back in the day and age of the merger. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if you think this way. I've talked to George about it. But, you know, a lot of these schools, I bet now, would like to rethink those mergers that they made and maybe just split back up and go to where they were.
They were almost forced to by the state, weren't they, 20 or 30 years ago?
Exactly, and I think some of them now, you're seeing now places that are having problems with revenue. I mean, Stowe Rocks is a great example. They've cut baseball and softball.
Was it Dormont or Denora and?
Stowe Rocks has cut baseball and softball.
That's amazing.
And there are rumors that that's not going to be where they're going to stop if things don't continue on, don't get better for them financially. And that's where I say that, you know, these kids are kept off the streets by a lot of these sports. And, you know, if you can't afford to run your school district, which isn't the problem here at Leechburg, obviously, but places like that, then you got to start making other plans.
And if Nick Starcynic were still around walking God's great earth,
Nick went down there and cleaned them up once already at Stowe Rocks. Did you know that?
Yes.
Nick was at Stowe Rocks, and of course at Highlands for many years. But you know, so they've decided to stay, which I think is a good idea. I think that's a good thing for all involved. And like I said, you know, they're worried about the fact that they maybe have been taking their lumps here in the last few years. But the history lesson is the last WPIAL team to win a basketball championship is Leechburg.
Well, okay, I'm taking up your time. I better go for multiple choice.
All right, is it my turn?
It is.
Okay. Okay, Mark, you have question number 3 in our vast archives of mental brutality.
Hello.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, sir.
There was a time when the Milwaukee Braves almost traded Warren Spahn to the New York Yankees in exchange for not only Whitey Ford, but another well-known Hall of Fame New York Yankee. Was it Hank Bauer, Billy Martin, Mickey Mantle, or Bobby Richardson?
Ooh, those are... how about Mickey Mantle?
You're correct. You're correct. So we've got...
That's my generation. At least I finally got one after a month of missing.
Yeah, you've been on a little bit of a dry spell, huh?
Yeah, I know. One other thing. Yesterday we were down, my wife's uncle lives in Elizabeth Township at Elizabeth Forward High School.
Right.
Boy, that stadium looked beautiful. We drove by it yesterday.
Gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
Yes.
I got to tell you a story. We did a game out there years ago, a playoff game, and George was there covering for the paper, so he can attest to this too when he's here.
Was I there?
No. This would have been right when we split off, and Mike and I did the game. Highlands played Moon. Matt Bonoslawski was still playing, so it was our first year doing it. So I would say it was 0-1, okay? And they had built this absolute Taj Mahal of a football stadium at Elizabeth Forward, and they had an entire room dedicated just to food. Bob, the food room was...
I would have been in heaven.
In great Western Pennsylvania style. They even had a cookie table.
Oh, my God.
And it was, Mark, it was unbelievable. And the problem, they haven't been good at all. I mean, their teams have been lousy, which really kills them because they're right next door to Thomas Jefferson, which has always been great. And they border TJ, and that's the rival, and TJ just kills them. And I think they finally made the playoffs last year. I think they got to a 4-5 or a 5-4, and they got in. But they must have. But I'm telling you, as far as a facility to work a game from, it was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
it was like being in a pro stadium.
Hey, Mark, congratulations. We got to run.
Okay, I appreciate it. You fellas have a good evening, and talk to you next week if I can.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, we will take a break and return with more on the program. Coming up, the line is open, by the way. 724-236-0543.
430.
0430. Quit laughing at me. I see nowhere up there is there a.
We're gonna rectify that.
Yeah, we got to get something up our,
We're gonna rectify
under the camera lens.
Right on top of the monitor.
So that, okay, a cheat sheet.
It's erased. It was
Boy,
right
that-
here.
you know
I
what,
had it
that's-
right there. You can't
that's
see it
nasty.
anymore because it's erased.
That is nasty.
Somebody
for
did that on
Yeah.
purpose, I
All
swear.
right. Back in a moment, folks. Stay with us.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
Automotive supplies, groceries, housewares, pet supplies.
All at discount prices.
Sofas, dining tables, recliners, dressers and desks, lamps and end tables.
All at discount prices.
Yard and landscaping supplies, special catalog orders, mattresses with full warranties.
All at discount prices.
School supplies, tools, paint, toiletries, model cars, toys.
All at discount prices. Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
Why do Arnold Furniture's customers continue to come back year after year? Maybe it's the personal touch that the Miller family has provided since 1975. Maybe it's the prices that are consistently lower than the competition. Or how about the selection? 4 floors of living room, dining room, recliners, bedding, accessories, and so much more. Plus free local delivery, free setup, and free removal of your old furniture guaranteed. The choice is obvious. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Tower Auto Sales in Blawnox along Freeport Road features pre-owned Lexus products and other automobiles as well. But the thing you got to consider is their experienced sales staff. They've been at it for a long time, 40 years in the same location, and they can certainly help you out. Tower Auto Sales, just buy it is their motto, and you can call Mike Fanto. Great guy to get to know at 412-828-6202. Don't forget my radio show coming up Saturday, and it's on WAVL 910 on the AM dial. And if you listen to the radio station during the week, you'll catch them with their pet phrase, Liberty 910, so you know you're tuned into the right frequency. 910 on the AM dial. Mike,
I called up the
something?
story. Yeah, I called up the story on Leechburg, and I wanted to close this up a loose end. The vote was 4-3. The school board voted this on Wednesday, this past Wednesday night, 4-3, and the decision is to stay and rescind its May decision to go to the Heritage Conference. They're going to stay in the WPIAL, and the vote was 4-3 with 2 members absent. The 4 in favor were Julie Battitz, Carla Del Vecchio, Danielle Rinke, and Jean Stahl. Opposed were Brian Ravati, Anthony Shea, and Terry Nepshield. And the members that were absent were Neil Brady and David Matsusin. So that's how the vote went. And they decided to stay in the WPIAL, and they will do that. And luckily for them, like I said, they left the schedules and everything alone, and the WPIAL gave them as much time as they wanted, because they understand the bind that a small district like that's in, and and I saw O'Malley was saying that, take your time. Yeah. You're still good.
And during the commercial break, and a thought came to mind, and I think we touched on this briefly before we went on the air, that if the sports program at Leechburg gets to the point where they are not winning at any sport, and they're outmanned, they're outweighed, and whatever, the better athletes, do they have an option to go, as an example, to not attend Kiski area, but to join their sports program?
Right.
And try out with anybody else?
Some schools have agreements with other schools if they disband the sport. Now, let's say,
Well, give me Stowe Rocks as an example.
Well,
so where do they go?
I'm not exactly sure where they're going to go.
It's got to be close.
It's going to be close. It may be Cornell, which is funny because Cornell just dropped their football team. Now,
Oh, that is.
and that's another thing I was thinking about Leechburg, is that where a school like Leechburg with small enrollment numbers gets into trouble are sports like football. If you only have, say, 25 kids that are coming out, you're in big trouble because a couple kids get hurt and then you struggle. That's always the first. And you also have to remember too that Title IX is an issue. That if you cut football, then you're going to have to cut something on the girls' side that equals what you just cut over there.
Oh, really?
It's got to be an even field.
Okay.
And that's why when they'll cut, you'll see they'll cut baseball and softball because they've eliminated one sport of each gender.
I don't agree with it.
And that's where you
Well,
sit. But I mean,
all right.
I always said if you're really trying to save money and you wanted to cut football, that's where the money's spent.
I can still remember doing a football game at Riverview several years ago, where the opponent that they had, and I can't think of it at the moment, had 17 total kids as the opposition for Riverview that day, and one of them was a female, the kicker. If they had a couple of kids go there, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
And they played both ways. They were tired, and that was a big disadvantage.
We've seen in football recently, West Green has been one of them. I believe Geibel has been another. That they have had to go week to week to see if they were going to have enough players to go. And I even think Vincentian kind of got in a little bit of a spot too. They just took up the sport this past year, and then what they ended up doing was, I don't even know if the administration knew this was going on when it happened, but they ended up playing kids that weren't eligible and ended up getting in trouble because of it.
Yeah, and look at the Valley girls basketball team.
Oh, what a mess
from this past year. Would they have 6 girls?
Yeah, and they had 5. I think they might have started with 6.
And when one got sick?
But they had 5. And 5 that were actually playing pretty well, too, which was the part that killed. They had got themselves just to the edge of playoff possibilities with maybe 2 games left, with 1 week to go. And then I had seen Coach Cheatham in the hallway because we had a game at Valley that night for a boys' game, and congratulated them on the fact that they got themselves into contention. He goes, "We're done." He goes, I got a girl or two girls ineligible. We can't go on the rest of the year, so that's it." He goes, "We're done," and he goes, "And I'm done."
And he's gone.
And he left. So well, I don't know where they're going to stand down there with that. But I mean, you can't go force people to come out and play. And he had done a really good job with those girls down there too. I mean, really
to show you how times have changed, when I began my high school football coverage, which was in the mid '60s, and I know that I did a full season in 1965 under a coach, and I forget his first name, but his last name was Costello. Leechburg's football team won the Class A championship in 1965, and they won it again in '66. The following year, '67 and '68, it was the Borough Bucks winning the local title.
Right.
And the following year, we had Richland, not Pine Richland, but Richland under Mike, I know you know the guys. Gene Sullivan. Gene Sullivan coached them back-to-back titles. So we had Leechburg back-to-back, we had Borough back-to-back, and we had Richland. 6 years of back-to-back football championships. And I remember the first football game that I ever carried. Plum hosted Leechburg. Can you imagine? Plum hosted Leechburg. How times have changed. Plum was a small school.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's happened to a lot of them too. I mean, if so many schools from then. I look at West Allegheny. Maybe
they have an elevator. They have an elevator in their press box, do they not?
Yes, barely double A. And now they're on the edge of being quad A. I mean, they were barely to double. And Richland the same way, weren't they A?
Yes. Well,
A to double in fuzzy lines.
Yeah.
Now they're quad. It just depends where everybody moves, and you get to certain parts of the area, and you see it's Mars. Mars is going to be quad A soon. You know why? Because they're right over the border in Butler County. You escape the Allegheny County taxes, and people are moving there. That place has exploded, and they draw down from a lot of the folks at Cranberry. So
Interesting stuff, Mike. We go for the final break, which we're going to do now. Stay with us. We're going to come back, and the line is open in case you want to get on and chat with us. And congratulations to Paul, to Chris, and to Mark, who were all winners tonight with trivia questions. And they got some prizes, and you can win too. Give us a call. Mike and I will be right back. Did you have something to go out with? Okay. Back in a moment. This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold.
Max and his son made their way homeward bound when mischievous rain dropped down, down, down. Safety was threatened by every roguish drip. They slipped and slid. They couldn't get a grip. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding them the right tire changes everything. Stop up to 31 feet shorter than a leading competitor with the new Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Tarentum and Freeport Road, Natrona Heights. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557.
All right, folks, don't forget my radio show, which is Saturday, WAVL, Liberty 910, AM dial 910. Thank you, Mike.
certainly.
Okay, now, sweetly. Any Stooges fans in the audience tonight?
Probably 2 or 3 of them out there anyway.
All right. By the way, you did want to mention something about the Highlands linebacker.
We had bad news. Highlands family lost a fine young man this week. Ryan Richards was killed over the weekend. He was a football player and a baseball player. I remember him from the time he was probably about 10 or 11 playing baseball against my nephew. And he was killed in an accident this week. So I just wanted to send out from all of us here to the family our deepest condolences and prayers. He was a great kid. He was a really nice kid, and it's such a tough thing. And we had talked about this, and you know, when you have kids that age running around, it's my nephew's 17, same type deal. It's like, they think they're indestructible, and it's just so sad, and you just your heart goes out to the parents and his brother. And everybody involved on the football team, especially. That's a tight-knit group, and I know they will have some special things planned to honor Ryan throughout the season. But it's just
probably have an armband with his jersey number.
Something.
From last year,
I'm sure
whatever.
they'll do something right. And there just aren't enough words to say what you feel in a situation like that. But from all of us here, and especially from me, condolences go out to the family, and he will definitely be missed, and his friends. I mean, you think about that too. Just about to go in to be a senior in high school. Never a chance to live it out.
I can think back, and I've been broadcasting high school sports now since the mid-'60s, and people like Ron Wall played basketball for Valley, Jack Ways, basketball for Highlands. Unfortunate with his death, and
we had a basketball.
Bruce, I'm not saying, I don't know if it's Bruce Finnan with Valley's basketball program. We go way back with this one into the 50s when I was still in high school, and I'm not sure how long he lived after that. But Johnny Yuma, and for all he may still be around, but I just wonder, had a broken neck in a football game, and was.
Well, that brings to mind our old caller here, Scotty Dowd.
Scotty Dowd.
He was a great
and
fan of this show. He did. He was a great fan of this show.
And would call all the time.
And would call all the time. And we really miss him. I was thinking about him the other day. He was about the same age as me, and he maybe a year or two older,
There's a
and
game
he got hurt
against
in a football
Hills,
game,
yeah.
and he ended up in a wheelchair and lived, quite a while after that. But and we lost him here recently too. So we.
Boy, I tell you, you can go back and start, scratching your noggin about some of these kids that, suffered the untimely death at a, very early age. And
Right,
it's
and
just
that's tough. It's tough to take, especially that young. It's just I don't deal well with that myself. So we'll move on. But
okay, now the home run derby is Monday
that's going
night.
to be coming up here Monday if you're watching on streaming tonight.
Yeah.
And if not, you'll already know what happened. So I like Pedro's chances here. People are worried now. People are worried that he's going to mess up his swing. Does that a guy like him? That wouldn't bother me at all. That doesn't worry me at all. McCutcheon, I could have seen it because he's not really a home run hitter. But Pedro, yeah. Bill says Pedro's only in because we yelled about it. It's like, no, that wasn't it. I was just kind of surprised when I saw they didn't pick him. It's like politics.
No,
and
this competition's not really been going on that long.
I saw the
28 years, I think 28.
I saw the last one.
And Dave, which was won by Fielder.
Yeah, the one that was here, I saw it in person, and believe me, it plays much better in person than it does on TV because it takes forever.
Oh, it's boring.
Oh, it is boring on television.
If it weren't for the family shots of their kids.
Look at little Johnny taking a picture.
And that's when my wife watches.
And that's all it is. But I'll tell you, in person, Bob, it was really cool. And it was a really nice event. And Ryan Howard won the one in Pittsburgh. And guess who finished second and was the leader after the first round? David Wright.
Oh.
He was, and he was very well liked at that time.
When Parker was with Cincinnati, he won the very first
how about that?
home run derby. And I want to make sure I don't have this as a question. Let me look.
Yeah, Paul's listening out there.
Let me look. No. The only man to win the home run derby 3 times, Ken Griffey.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one other man that has won it twice.
That's probably Prince
Cecil Fielder.
Prince Fielder.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Prince.
and he's in
not
it tonight.
Cecil.
He's got a chance
Prince.
to tie that all up.
So yeah, if he wins, then it's 3 apiece.
Not a home run hitter's park, City Field, by the way. So there may not be as many, which means it may go faster.
No.
Because they juice up the balls. They make them. They might as well be having golf balls.
They do. You know what? Pete Rose did this as a joke. He ordered, and I'm trying to think of the series that they were playing in, but he ordered several dozen of the Japanese baseball mic, which is a little bit smaller,
a little tighter,
and a lot tighter.
Yeah.
So as the other team was watching Cincinnati's batting practice, they were disappearing not only over the fence, but they were going out of the ballpark. And he had that the little bit of psych going for them. I think it was an all-star game. I think it was an all-star game.
That sounds like Pete.
Pete would do that. Anyway, folks, we had a good time tonight.
We did.
And we thank you for watching. Of course, if you're watching this on streaming, it's repeated Thursday night on Comcast Cable Channel 190. And we invite you back next Monday night. We'll know by then, of course, the outcome of the All-Star Game, the first series of what went on with the Pirates as they resume, which would be in Cincinnati.
Will the collapse have started?
Oh, Mike, please. The cup is half full, okay?
The cup's more than half full right now. That cup's almost
19 games
that
over
cup's
500.
nearly brimming right now. Let's see what happens. Hope it doesn't have a hole in the bottom of it.
Thanks for watching. We've had a great time tonight here on Sportsline Trivia. I'm Bob Tattern.
I'm Mike Powell.
And we'll see you next week. Same station.
For watching Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toretto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.